In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Sci podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still bad.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement. The Have You Seen It podcast.
Welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight, and sitting across from me is the one, the only, Cash Krause.
Whoa, what an introduction.
Well, you know,
You're really building
my
me
job.
up. You're building me up too much because now I'm only going to disappoint
people. And I just keep seeing it go bigger and bigger, and I'm like, whoa, we gotta deflate that thing. What is that?
Absolutely, I know. Yeah, the one and only really makes it sound like I'm going to come out here and do something.
Something spectacular.
That only
every
I
time.
can do. Yeah, it's never the truth. Not at all. But welcome back to our Throwback Theater edition.
Throwback Theater,
where we go and try to look at a movie a little older. Someone missed. Oh, do we have a film today?
Yes, we
Just
do.
a little tiny small film, little indie film.
Yeah.
Was way overlooked.
Of course.
No one talked about it. Came out
one.
20 years ago in the year 2000. Imagine that year 2000. Imagine what that looked like. Cell phones were
Y2K.
like this.
They were
called Nokia,
cinder
and you can
blocks.
also build houses out of them now.
You could.
Yeah, it was beepers were a big thing. As in this movie, we
Pagers,
see
yeah.
pagers are a huge So 20 years ago, a little movie directed by a little director. He directed small.
Never heard of him.
Small films like what was that little tiny film where the kid goes back with the old man?
Back to the something. Oh, Back to the Future. That's
right. And he
yeah.
did. I think he did 3 of those.
He did do all 3
Little
of those.
film of those,
Yeah.
and then he went on and he did a film like I think he did
Forrest Gump.
Yeah,
yeah,
another small one that no one saw.
You know, it's so hard to keep up with all the films, you know, that we just never got around to seeing any of those.
Well, I heard that one wasn't even that good.
Right.
So I heard it was a big skip.
Yeah, it was.
But then he finally bounced back from a lackluster career and teamed up with no name Tom Hanks. And
I love how we're doing this one.
Finally redeemed himself and did a good film for once.
Right. After doing the terrible Forrest Gump.
After doing terrible Forrest Gump, Who Framed Roger Rabbit,
Right.
all the Back to the Futures, that horse shit. He finally did. He finally landed a winner. Thank God, with Castaway.
Castaway, yes.
Wow, we are doing a Castaway review.
Yep.
20 years too late.
Yeah,
20
I
years
know.
after anyone's looking for it.
People are like, we already know everything on this film. Why are you guys reviewing it? Great question.
Exactly. And it is a daunting film to review, I feel like, because this film is, of course, we're kidding. This film is such a large part of at least American pop culture.
Yes.
It's referenced constantly.
All
Still,
the time.
20 years later, it's still constantly referenced.
Yeah.
So it is it's a daunting task. But who's more up to it than 2 random ass guys with zero talent,
Right.
zero skill, zero history.
And the one thing you can expect from this podcast is 0 expectations.
But I mean, it's Castaway. It's fucking great, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's Tom Hanks, arguably at his best. I mean, what he does completely alone, he carries the entire movie for 2 hours on his own. That's a huge fucking task.
Yes,
That's got to be so scary for a person. But man, you almost forget how good of actor Tom Hanks is. You know, with what kind of person he's become. You know, with everyone, he's kind of America's dad now.
Yep.
And everyone loves him, and he can't be touched. We have to protect Tom at all. He got corona, and
He did get corona.
and that's when the government started like taking it serious. Only
that
after
was the
Tom
first. Yeah, that was literally the first sign of taking it serious. Hold
only
on,
after
Tom
Tom
Hanks?
Hanks got it. So he's become so big. But you forget that he is one of the greatest actors, arguably, of our time. He's so damn good, man. It's crazy. I just rewatched, because I never watched it again, but I just rewatched Captain Phillips, and he is so good in that. It's just
Captain Phillips is the I am the captain now, right?
Oh yeah. He's just amazing in that. But man, he is so good in this, and he's the only guy that would make you care about a fucking volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
He makes you care about that fucking thing.
Did you know originally in that it was supposed to be a good Chuck, bad Chuck kind of thing?
Oh yeah, he was supposed to have like a dual personality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull up my notes.
Yeah, dual personality, which I'm so glad they didn't go with that. Instead, they ended up going with one of the most iconic, people, characters that like don't speak or anything.
Yeah,
it was Wilson.
Crazy, and it's. I mean, it just goes to the performance and the director and everything. Again, it makes you care so much about that stupid fucking volleyball. This volleyball that says nothing. Has zero personality. Yep. You are crying when this thing goes away.
You are. You get emotional. Still, I just rewatched it.
I've seen this film probably 13 times, and it's always a film that's kind of hard for me to watch because it is just heartbreaking. Is probably just a phrase to describe this film. From the very beginning to the very end, this film is fucking heartbreaking. Because even if he survives, what kind of life is he going back to?
Yeah.
A life where he's completely forgotten at this point.
Absolutely. 4 years later, for sure, without a shadow of a doubt,
people have completely moved on.
Yeah.
I mean, and it took so much for those people to move on from him, and now he's got to come back. So it's a crazy movie. You're watching it, and you're like, even if he gets out, it's nothing,
And it's such a journey from start to finish, too, because it's kind of like 2 or 3 chapters, huge, significant chapters in this guy's life.
Yeah.
Where you could see him as the businessman early on. He's got the clock. He's in Russia or wherever, Moscow, and he's got the clock, and he's telling all these people, hey, time is money. We got to go, 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 go.
Well, that's a big thing that I see every time I rewatch it. That's something I pick up more and more is how the entire first 25 minutes is time. Time, never enough time.
Yep.
And even Helen Hunt, his girlfriend, she gives him a clock, a stopwatch.
Yeah.
So it's all about time. And then once he's on the island, that's all he has is fucking time. A time where that was the number with the biggest scarcity in the world for him was he never had enough time. And now all he fucking has is time. It's cruel. It's almost a Twilight Zone.
Yeah, seriously, it could have been a Twilight Zone episode.
It is, but it's crazy, man. And but no one does it better. No one plays the everyday man better than Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Where you're watching this, you're thinking, oh, this is what this would happen to me if I got stuck on an island.
Exactly.
Not knowing anything, throwing coconuts at a fucking wall, and
trying to make fire.
Yeah, and then just getting lucky. And the only reason I survive is out of pure luck. A bunch of packages. That's the only reason I survive is because it's just pure fucking luck.
Yeah,
that's what he does so good is just making it seem. And of course, he lost a lot of weight. He pulled a Christian Bale weight. Here. Yeah, except he took him a fucking year. Christian Bale would have lost that weight in a week. And no one would even have to ask him. It would be for like a role. He's just playing a normal guy. He'll lose 80 pounds.
Yeah, the role did not require this.
You're playing a mailman, Christian.
There's
no need for it.
Well, you know what? He had a change of mind in the character. No, he didn't. That's nowhere in the script.
I wrote the character. I know what he's doing.
Right. I am him.
But I envisioned this mailman weighing 88 pounds.
Like, that's just an unhealthy mailman.
Christian, you're scaring people. But anyways, yeah, so that's always the number one thing talked about in any of these films. It's the weight loss. You lose 30 pounds in Hollywood, you're at least going to get nominated for an Oscar.
Oh, definitely.
You're at least going to get the nomination.
Speaking about Oscars, we were talking about how incredible Tom Hanks is. This was his last nomination as an actor until Fred Rogers.
Yes.
A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
I would have to agree with that, too.
Almost 20 years later.
Yeah, and Robert Zemeckis hasn't really done anything grand or great since then either.
No.
He hasn't.
It's a very good point.
He's got a few things slated that look interesting, like he's doing The Witches, but, it was that lull that everyone goes through in a career, I guess. Yeah. But, and Tom Hanks, he's still not doing great stuff. Like, that Greyhound doesn't look phenomenal to me.
It didn't get terrible reviews.
Oh, did it? Yeah. Well, of course, it's Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Is anyone even going to give him you could say every movie he's in is at least average because it's fucking Tom Hanks.
Yeah, and he's a brilliant actor.
Yeah, but he got nominated. You know what won this year? Or you know what won the year over him for Best Actor?
No.
2000.
What did?
A little back-to-back twice. It's not three-peat, but Gladiator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of course. Russell Crowe won back-to-back for Beautiful Mind and then Gladiator 2 years in a row.
Wow.
Couldn't stop that man.
No, you couldn't. Not then.
And I got to agree with it.
And not now. His new film, Unhinged, you cannot stop that man in that truck.
Man, that almost sounds like an advertisement.
It does. Yeah.
And you won't be able to stop him in the new one coming out Friday. Theaters near you. But, but man, that's a tough year.
Mm-hmm.
You either give it to fucking Gladiator, which is, I mean, let's be honest, it kind of broke. It kind of broke the world when it came out. Yeah. So, or you give it to Tom Hanks, who brings in this fucking
performance of a lifetime,
powerhouse performance, man. Mm-hmm. But of course, I think they probably made the right choice.
Yeah, I think so.
Gladiator's just something spectacular.
It really is.
But man, that's a tough choice. 2000 was a good year for film, for sure.
Yeah.
But back to Tom Hanks. I think the biggest problem about this film is the part on the island is by far the best part of the film in my mind. I mean, even when he gets off the island, it's still the ending just doesn't add up to it always seemed kind of lackluster to me compared to how great he was on the island.
Right.
With these, I mean, Helen Hunt, she's great in it, but again, that ending I just always felt kind of with them because they're setting up at the very beginning that lady. Mm-hmm. When they go and take the FedEx package to her, and she's delivering a package to her husband, and her husband opens the door and he's got a hooker or whatever, Russian hooker. I don't know what's going on, but they're setting it up early that he would, I guess, wind up with her just by delivering that package.
By delivering the package. I don't know.
I always felt that was lackluster to me. But,
we never knew what was inside the package either.
No, and
the ones with the painted wings, and then of course you see it on the back of the truck.
And everyone made the joke when it came out. It's a fucking satellite phone. It's a fishing rod. My family, we would always joke about it. That would be so
funny if it was a satellite phone.
Oh, FedEx did a spoof of that joke and for a Super Bowl ad. I remember 2003, where they go and the lady opens it up. It's a solar powered satellite phone. Water purification, and a fishing rod, and like a flare gun.
Oh my gosh.
And the guy's like, "Oh, I'm so glad all these things finally came." Like
4 years later. Oh yeah, 5 years almost.
My fishing. So they made a joke, but everyone was making that joke when that's the one package he doesn't open.
That's so funny.
Is a satellite phone and all that bullshit. It was probably nothing. Although it might have been able to be useful in some way. He used everything. He used the skates. The skates were fucking huge.
Yeah, they were.
You can use skates for anything. Dentistry.
Right, cracking open coconuts.
That is the scene that even since I was a child stuck with me the longest. Is every time I think Castaway, that's the scene that immediately pops in my mind. Is that fucking scene of the tooth man
passes out and just bam smacks his head right on the rock.
Imagine a pain being so bad you just faint.
Pass out. But I believe it. For mouth pain like that, oh my God.
It's the worst pain. It's the worst pain. And it affects your entire body.
I had a dentist one time. And we're going to get a little off.
Was his name Spalding?
It was. No.
That was
the dentist name, yeah. No, but, oh my gosh, dude. My mouth was not numb yet, and he starts drilling. And I screamed. I was like, oh, dude. I go, no. We got to wait for this to. And he was like almost annoyed with me. He was like, okay, fine.
Yeah, well, they got to go, man. They got patience.
No, they do. But dude, you got to get that Novocaine working first before you start drilling.
I've had a similar experience, too. And that's why I hate the dentist. I hate the dentist, yeah. I would almost rather take my chance in some fucking creepy cave with with an ice skate, That's old school. That's old school.
Well, it gets the job done.
It does. Man, that's fucking brutal. That is always what sticks in my mind. So well done too, with the splatter of blood and It's crazy this film was made for $90 million.
Yeah, I thought that was a little excessive myself. Maybe because they had a film in Fiji with the island.
Yeah, they did, and then they filmed in Moscow, and then because they had to do all that for. I mean, it's just stereotypical Hollywood production. Let's make
just
this as
expensive. Money. Yeah, for no reason whatsoever. But I mean, at least the positive was this film crushed at the box office. Almost made $500 million, $429.6 million at the box.
Did really good overseas too.
Yes,
for some reason they love plane crashes over there.
And interestingly enough, FedEx initially didn't know if they wanted to be in the film or not, but they gave their approval. Yeah. but then it increased business internationally by 30% for that company. This was the best move you could have ever made. And ironically enough, your plane goes down.
What are people seeing that convinces like, man, that guy, he did deliver that one package after all that. So FedEx, they're hiring good people.
They are. And honestly, in the first act, I mean, this guy was ready to go. He was going to do
anything. But I understand the
possible.
plane went down. I mean, that makes me think they're not doing their job.
You would think, yeah.
But yeah.
And they're like 500 miles
not
off
even that,
course.
the craziest fact is applications for FedEx went up 30%. Man, do I want to work for that fucking place.
Right.
They don't know how to fucking fly. That's insane.
And they'll give up in a couple weeks looking for you if you do go down. So,
well, it's been 4 hours, guys. Let's call it.
We gotta call it a day. We got more packages to deliver.
We can't be out here. He was all about. He wouldn't even want us out here.
No, he wouldn't.
He wouldn't even want.
I mean,
we want us delivering.
We have to honor him.
Yes.
What he would want.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, that's so weird to me.
Yeah, it is.
It just boomed FedEx. Fuck UPS. They don't know what they're doing out there.
Gosh.
They're not crashing planes and still delivering my package. It's incredible.
It is.
It's incredible. Yeah, I couldn't believe that either. What a weird fact.
So I want to bring up Robert Zemeckis because he has a weird fascination with Calvin Klein. Have you noticed in Back to the Future? Well, I know. I know, but I mean...
He's probably getting paid, to be honest with you.
That's what I was going to say. It's definitely... It has to be product placement. Because Back to the Future, you know, Calvin Klein. And then the Castaway, he's got the underwear all over his head. And it says Calvin Klein.
Yes,
so,
it does.
We know what kind of underwear you're wearing,
and there's
Zemeckis.
plenty of product placement in this. And there's plenty of product placement in Back to the Future, you remember?
There is.
Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, anything you can get.
Even in Back to the Future, too.
There's no such thing as selling out in Hollywood.
No, there is not.
Everyone's a fucking sellout. So, but yeah, something I want to bring up is the plane crash scene, though. 20 years old, still looks fucking fantastic. Still is so... There's so much tension, man, when that first explosion goes off and you know, oh, that's not the end of it. Things are fucked.
Right.
It's just, it's so well shot. Every time I see it, I can't believe it, man. And it's just 20-year-old CGI, you know? I mean, there's parts of it that aren't, but the plane sinking in the ocean, you know, it's CGI. It looks fucking fantastic.
And I have to be honest with you, as far as a 2000 film 20 years ago, that is something that stood out to me. Even the waves, man. The waves look fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. When he was floating in the raft and everything, it looked so good. It blew my mind. I guess that's probably where the $90 million back then.
Oh, God.
He probably spent $40 million on that plane crash alone. It took
rendering, that's probably why they took a year off in reality.
So much.
Just for the rendering.
It took so much. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You only hear horror stories about Jurassic Park and how long it fucking, and how all the computers were just bursting in the flames and then like constantly like invent new technology. I can only imagine, man. I mean, this. Oh God. Yeah, it probably did cost $40 million to make that plane crash, because it does, but it looks fantastic. It always sticks in my head that fucking the pilot that stands up. He's like, stay in your seat. I know. Like, follow your own advice, bud.
Yeah, seriously. And then he's like going over and giving him the mask.
And then he's like, I know, a hero.
Yeah, he is a hero. And unfortunately, he had to bury him
This guy should have been an actual pilot, not just delivering packages. There's one guy on board, and he made sure that he was completely secured.
I'm sorry, but if I see a passenger, an asshole jumping out to grab a watch or something, I'm like, no, you can't do this.
But that scene when he goes and it smashes his head and
there's blood everywhere.
Fucked. Yeah, you know he's dead.
Yeah, I do love the plane crash scene with the water just filling in instantly. You are right, man. It looks so good, and it was fast too. Just how something like that.
Oh yeah. And it got no evidence, no nothing. It raced. That's how fucking planes don't ever get found.
Oh,
yeah. I mean,
the Malaysian airline is still not found to this day. I mean, they
never will find. They never will find it, man. You don't even fucking get how vast the ocean is. I mean,
my God, it's wild.
If you're not in like a shipping route, people aren't. That's why he had to leave, because he would have died on that island. Yeah. I mean, no one was just gonna fucking cruise by
and be like, hey, let's check out that island over there. That looks interesting.
He looks fun, just crazy as hell. But yeah, that plane crash is awesome. I love the scene when he first tries to escape without, because he sees the ship originally and he goes in the regular raft and he gets fucked up by the coral. Yep.
And the waves too.
Yeah. Oh, the surf, man. You can't. And that's crazy too. It's like you're trapped on that island. You can't break that surf no matter what. It took him 4 years to fucking build the blueprints in his mind for a ship to build. And remember, he had to know the wind and the tides and the seasons and everything.
And the time, everything.
Crazy.
And he finds that little portable device, or the porta potty.
From California.
I know. You know how far that thing floated?
Well, that's the thing. It was kind of destiny with that and like the whales. Remember, the whales stayed with him the entire time. Yep. Every time when Wilson was gone, they fucking woke him up.
Yeah, they did.
They knew,
because otherwise he wasn't waking up for that shipyard coming.
Hell no. But and I like that. I like those little things. Again, it makes you kind of feel Forrest Gumpy. But I like that whale. And again, that whale probably took $30 million to see.
It probably did. Yeah, that whale will never have to work another day in his life.
But yeah, I like that, him floating out there with like the stars and everything, and the whale just popping up. It's super cool.
It is.
And this is something cool, is the score. There's no score at all for the first probably hour and 45 minutes.
Yep.
The score doesn't kick in, and I think that's such an interesting element to a film. And it's genius, you know? It makes you feel like
isolated.
you are alone on that fucking island. Like there's not even, you know.
And that was definitely the feeling I was getting, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because I actually didn't catch on to that, if I'm being honest. I didn't catch on to the fact that there was no score. But now that you say it, it makes so much sense. I didn't hear a single string of music at all that whole time.
Not until he gets past the surf.
Yes.
He looks back, and it's like the oboe and the slow violin and the piano. It's perfect. Yep. And it's because it's that fucking triumph. But yeah, no score at all. And he doesn't speak for an hour and 10 minutes. You know, the last thing he says is when he's looking into the tree line, because he thinks people are there, because, you know, he's kind of going crazy.
Right, of course.
And then he doesn't say another word. So I really like that too, where even some movies, you know, they'd have him speaking to himself and like getting rid of the element that one, like he's Smeagol. Like, well, there's one Golem is a bad one.
Good Chuck,
I like they got rid of that, because that's something that they do for like isolated movies to get rid of the silence. Is has the guy constantly speak out loud, which is not something you would do. No. You never talk out loud to yourself.
No, of course not.
So I really like that. He doesn't talk at all the entire time until he starts talking to Wilson. Yeah. And
something interesting about Wilson, they use 3 volleyballs to film this movie. One of those volleyballs at auction.
Oh, I'd
back in the day,
if I was rich,
20,
I'd buy it for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Buy it, put it in your office, be so fucking cool. That'd be such an awesome.
And to know it's like a prop from the film.
And to know Tom Hanks handled it.
Exactly.
And saved his life on that island.
That volleyball, one of the 3 volleyballs went for $18.4 thousand.
You know, you'd be sitting there and they'd probably start to fuck with you.
Oh, it'd start to talk to you.
Like, what the fuck?
Okay, hold up. Am I going mad?
Yeah, like, what is this thing, haunted? Is it cursed? That'd be awesome. That'd be fucking... Yeah, that's cool. 3 volleyballs. I like the transition, the continuity, how nasty and how dirty fucking Wilson gets. And how he's got to constantly repaint it with his blood. It's really dark. It's a dark and depressing fucking scene when he is just rambling on. And something else, like a little fun fact, is they wrote lines in the script for Wilson. So when Tom Hanks would be reading it, he would respond like someone was talking to him. I'm sure someone off camera would say something. Yeah. And then he'd respond, because it's so, I mean, it seems like he's fucking
It seems so organic.
He really must have gone to like a kind of dark place to go to. He must have done real isolation work.
You would have to.
I'm guessing because it took him a year to lose all that weight, which is crazy. It took him a year that long. Robert Zemeckis filmed a film during that time off.
Yes, he did.
That man is not wasting any time.
No, not at all. And he took the same film crew as well.
Yeah, why the hell not?
Yeah.
I'm sure. What were they doing? Were they like, I guess I'll go?
Well, of course, they want some work too. Let's.
Well, I'm sure that's another reason that the film was so expensive, is they had to probably keep all these people on retainer for a year.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't want them going and doing something when they were already filmed one. You wouldn't want them going and signing a contract for something else. So I'm sure they had to pay these people for doing. It was probably a pretty fucking sweet gig.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I work for 4 years, and 1 year I have off. Except now I got to go film this other fucking, this small little film with Robert Zemeckis.
Too. Like, when you have a crew, I mean, because you have a crew of about 100, 120
I know, but it's not like
you don't want to switch it out.
It's not like they're signed on contract that they have to do everything the director says, though. Like, pack it up, boys. Yeah. We're doing something.
No, not that either. But, I mean, you do want your same crew there.
Oh, yeah,
if you have to tell 70, 80 people everything that you've already told the other crew, that becomes problematic.
And he works with like the same people, same cinematographer from Back to the Future. So I'm sure that was a larger makeup of the crew was those people. But
one of my, I want to talk about one of my favorite scenes in this movie. The first time he finally creates fire. Right? So he puts a little thing and he finds out that, the air's getting through it and the fire goes on. And then it's the cut too.
Well, it's a cool little cycle of how long it took him to figure it out.
Oh my God, his hands were all blistering.
And it was like a caveman thing, That's what this film is. It's like a real animalistic kind of depraved kind of caveman feeling, He's figuring all this out. And how he kind of gives birth to Wilson. By being a part of his blood and whatnot. And but yeah.
I also love when he finally gets rescued and everything and he goes back and they have seafood out on the table and that's brutal. All he's eating.
It's brutal.
Is just crabs. Like, come on,
people.
Someone's got to think, man, this guy probably just lived on fish and crab his whole life. And then he goes over to the lighter and he clicks it on, off, on, off.
And small things like and the bottled water. The bottled water and the ice. Ice. Remember, the first thing he wants is 2 cups of ice.
That scene's so heartbreaking, man, when he's sitting there next to his friend's fire and he goes, my whole life, or the whole time I was there, I wanted Kelly, my fiance, and now that I'm back, I have this glass, with ice and water, but I still don't have her.
Yep,
it's just like, oh my God.
And the whole buildup, if you've already seen the film, watching that the start hurts so much more.
It does.
Knowing that when they're making all these plans, and then right before, of course, he gets on the plane, he goes, "I'll be right back."
Oh no!
No, you fucking won't.
You won't.
You goddamn liar, man! Don't say that.
That shot or that scene rather at the fire was a 4-minute one take.
Yeah.
So Tom Hanks did that whole thing in one take.
He's a good actor.
Yeah.
If you saw his film,
just giving you more evidence towards that because definitely just a great actor. But anyway, my favorite scene is the fire scene. I'll tell you why.
He's already know why.
Out. He's having fun, and he starts breaking out in my favorite band of all time. He starts singing "Light My Fire" by the Doors.
He does. You know what? Something else I got to bring up is when he first comes back because he's from Memphis. He brings up that the Tennessee Titans have been established.
Has changed from the Houston Oilers.
Yep. Which is, I'm a Titans fan, and you never hear of them in any film or anything like that. So that
had to feel good for you.
I've seen this film many times, so I knew it was coming. But yeah, the biggest thing is they're complaining that it wasn't in Memphis, because I remember people complaining when they moved to Tennessee that they ended up moving to Nashville instead of Memphis. But they were bitter about that. Be happy you have a goddamn team.
Yeah, no kidding.
You come back 4 years, you didn't have a team. Now you have a team. Now this guy's complaining. He's been here an hour.
Can never win.
Yeah, you can't win with this guy. Put him back on the island.
Yeah, seriously.
But one more scene I got to bring up that I never hear talked about a lot, but is a scene when he's building the rope and he's got to go up to the mountain and get the other 30 feet of rope. And it's from his suicide attempt.
Yeah,
It's a fucking heartbreaking scene, man. It's a heartbreaking scene when Wilson's got to convince him to go up there. Because he's like, I'm not going back up there. Yep. And he goes, but it's another 30 feet. Damn you, Wilson. You are fucking convincing. I don't know. Oh my God. Hey. You should have been a lawyer.
You should have been
a lawyer.
Who knows what he's doing nowadays?
But yeah, him going up there and then going back and in the cave talking about how he's like, you're right, Wilson, I would have just landed on the rocks. And then you kind of figure out that Wilson had to talk him out of, which is him, himself having to talk himself out of committing suicide. And man, the fucking length on that rope to commit suicide, your head's gonna pop right off.
Oh, absolutely.
30 feet of rope. He did not want to
spray of blood everywhere.
He did not want to feel a single thing.
Well, I don't blame him.
But that's cool. And the transition from him going from not knowing anything and then the flash forward 4 years, and he's 40 feet away, and he's just like fucking Clint Eastwood.
He is with the fucking spear.
It's so funny. But yeah,
that's a great scene though, because I love the camera work.
Oh yeah,
because you just see the spear go into the water.
So fucking good.
He does, and then
you
it
gotta think
hands
he's
up
a superstar.
Right
like he could train Navy SEAls at this point.
Unquestionably, yeah, dude.
Like you could put him in any scenario, and he'd be able to.
He is the definition of survivor man,
and that's the whole thing. Is you kind of get hints like once it fast forwards, and it's like 30 minutes until he gets on the raft. But it's just kind of giving you hints of those 4 years and what it was like. Yep. He went through a suicidal phase. He had to go through all this shit mentally to get to where he was, and it's It's crazy, man. You just imagine what he did for 4 years by yourself.
Oh my gosh.
And that's what this whole film is. It's more of a character study of isolation and what happens to you once you're just completely left alone.
I'm not a scientist or a doctor,
insane.
but I can say it's probably not good.
No. And that's the thing I always thought too, is getting off, like, he should immediately went to a therapist. Like, no one's offering him help.
FedEx party.
And no one's even talking to him or anything. And I think that's on purpose, you know. Immediately he comes back and everyone tries to make it their own thing. Except for his good friend.
Yes.
Whose wife died. And you know early on when he's talking about how she just got into treatment, you knew she was going to not make it by the time so it sucked. His best friend had to go through this whole thing. And he's the one apologizing to everyone.
Everyone. Yep. I'm sorry to his best friend. I'm sorry to Kelly. It's just
I'm sorry I put that bomb on the plane.
What? Why are you apologizing?
Yeah, and no one ever goes, it's not your fault.
I know. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, we accept your apology.
Again, that's why it's so damn heartbreaking is he's like... Again, he's like this caveman that was unfrozen after 4 years, and now he has no place in society. Exactly. Society has moved on without him.
If anything, he's just as isolated as what he was on the island.
Yeah,
you know? And that's what's sad about it.
Brutal. He's still got to kiss Kelly though, and you know her husband was just in the window. Motherfucker. He's like, I knew this shit was gonna happen. I knew this shit was gonna happen if he came back. Brutal for that guy.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, he's in a tough position. You can't even get mad at your wife for kissing.
I mean, in a real life scenario, what would happen?
I know.
Like, and what would be considered okay? Like, would you be mad at
I think I'd let him fuck.
Back?
I think I'd have to.
At least get it out of your
One
system.
and done. Like, clearly, like, and then you learn that she never gave up, and, like, everyone had to convince her to give up.
Get over him.
And then probably
he's still alive.
It's so...
Oh, my God.
It's heartbreaking.
It is. It's one of the worst
And I'm sure people
aspects.
had to eventually just yell at her and be like, he's not coming back.
Right.
Like, shake her and be like, it's not happening.
We're on year 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to give up. You got kids that you got to give up.
Gotta
and
move
then
on.
he fucking walks to the door.
And the first thing
again,
just like,
everyone
told you.
should be going to therapy. Should be just a blanket therapy session. Because it's not, and now the kids too are like, Jesus.
I know.
And now the kids, you know, the kids would see that, they'd hate their mom. They wouldn't know.
Absolutely.
They'd have no idea. Like, they couldn't even imagine. It's a tough situation for everyone.
Very tough.
And that's kind of what it does a good job, is it shows how hard it was on Helen Hunt's character. I mean, it wasn't obviously as hard. She wasn't stranded on an island.
Yeah.
But, you know, fucking that guy was gone in a heartbeat. She had to completely change her life. You know, they were going to get married.
Yeah.
All this bullshit. Then she marries a dentist. What a step down.
I know, right? And he gives her back her family heirloom, which kept him alive the whole time.
That scene is good. That scene is just... he kept a picture, though.
He did.
You have to, man. He's been staring at that thing for 4 years.
A long time.
He's probably glued to him at this point. You cannot wrestle that picture away from him. But yeah, the watching. So, of course, that makes sense, you know. Now this random guy has my grandpa's watch. But again, it's heartbreaking. Yeah. You just hope that he eventually somehow got with that farmer chick. Right, that's the theory.
There were like 3 or 4 roads he could have went down, but he looks back at her at the end.
Yeah, you just gotta hope, and they randomly get together. I mean, that's kind of the fantasy land ending. That
it is definitely.
Really, in real life, he'd probably just become an alcoholic and a recluse, and probably go and live in a shack and live for and be crazy as hell,
just as isolated.
Yeah, and everyone in that town is like, "Yeah, you don't go up there." That guy was on an island for 5 years. He's fucking nuts. He has like 90 volleyballs. He just starts with volleyballs all day. They're all around his property. Like, don't go up there. That guy is level 10 psychopath. Like, unless you're a volleyball, he's shooting you.
He will. Yeah, he will murder you.
And he's only eating crab. That man is a psychopath. But yeah, that's what I like to envision what happened to old Tom.
In real life,
he went directly back to, because remember, he can't even sleep in the bed.
Yeah, he sleeps on the ground.
That's hard because. Because he was sleeping on a rock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the adjustment would be way too hard.
You'd have to have a firm mattress. Yeah. A lot of back support.
Definitely.
Because nothing's going to give you more lumbar support than a cave. I mean, that thing's flat. But, yeah. Do you have anything else to say about that?
Yeah, I've got one little fun fact. We do know in 2020, just a few months ago, Tom Cruise and his wife, Rita Wilson, got coronavirus.
Yes,
and
COVID.
Their doctors, as a joke, sent them a Wilson volleyball.
I remember when that happened. Yeah.
It's kind of like a good-natured, funny, like, oh yeah, here's Wilson since you're in isolation again. So.
Yeah. That probably gave him flashbacks.
Yeah, it did. Some PTSD or something.
Yeah, and they reunited like not that long ago, like 2010 or something, for like a show or something like that, where they reunited. I'm sure their people are constantly doing it. He's probably getting so annoyed because you can buy those Wilson volleyballs like in Walmart and shit. They sell them everywhere now. Where they have they're awesome. They're cool. Yeah. I'd like to have them, but
what an easy Halloween costume! You just carry around a volleyball and then just go shirtless, and there you are.
Well, I've seen, but if I was gonna do it, I'd starve myself for 6 months, grow out the hair, really, and just go around yelling, Wilson, no, Wilson, no, I can't do it, Wilson, I can't do it.
That shit is so sad still, and it's just a stupid volleyball, but you feel.
I know. Well, it's his best friend. It's man's best friend. That volleyball. Thank God for that volleyball.
Beg to differ.
He would have made like a pineapple friend or something like that.
Yeah. Something more
down the road. You're gonna find a friend. You're the only one on the island. But not.
Well, you've got a friend in me.
Ooh. Another Tom Hanks.
Yep, definitely.
Tom Hanks
well, you know what? I had to throw it in there.
Yeah, this movie just terrifies me of flying. It's my worst. I'd rather die on the plane. Like, let me fucking die. I don't want to live like that, man. It sucks.
Yeah, but if I knew I could survive after 4 or 5 years, I might just want to do it.
4 or 5 years?
On an island, isolated by myself, that'd be awful. I'd hate it.
Oh, my God. You wouldn't even...
I'd go mad.
Yeah, the fact that he came back completely normal.
That was one thing where I was like, okay, what the hell?
Like, it was like, although it did say, like, a time went past from, like, the Chinese shipping container finding him. And then
it was like 4 weeks or something like that.
4 weeks, yeah. No, I would need months.
Yeah.
You mean, you would see a person, you wouldn't believe it. And I'm sure he was near death.
Oh, yeah, when he was on that raft, absolutely.
Remember his raft was like 4 sticks?
Yeah, it was like falling into the water.
The whales were just keeping him afloat. Like, it was sad.
You assholes grab this guy. We've been holding him up for hours now.
God, it was sad. Yeah, it must have taken him. And I'm sure he just completely broke down when he saw people.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
He wouldn't believe it. Yeah. That's the scenes I want to see. But I liked him leaving that out and leaving that to the imagination. Just going through. Because this film is pretty depressing as it is. Yeah, it is. I don't know if you would want to see the breakdown of him and then him like frantically like fighting people because he thinks he's like hallucinating.
Like it's a mirage or
Where's
something.
Where's my volleyball? He's like choking people out.
Where's Wilson?
Yeah. He's got weird, crazy island strength at this point. He's like real wiry.
Even though he's 128 pounds.
But he's been doing a lot of rowing, dude. That's good.
That's true.
Upper body.
But he gave up, too. He pushed those rows out into the sea.
After what?
A couple days.
He went 500 miles.
Yeah, he did.
Don't forget that.
Yeah, that's a long
500 miles from the Cook Islands.
It's wild.
He didn't know which way he was going.
Of course not. He just said, well, set sail.
Anything's better than that fucking island. And I like that look back once he leaves the island. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's bittersweet. It was his home and it gave him life and whatnot, but it was also fucking killing him.
Yeah, man.
Crazy.
Yep. Alrighty, well, you got anything else on Castaway?
That's all I got.
Alrighty.
I love it. I mean, it's a good
so
film.
Do I
feel like if you haven't seen Castaway, you've probably been living on a desert island.
And I really love these throwback theaters that we do now because now we're able to talk about some of our favorite films of all time.
Absolutely.
You know? It makes it a lot of fun. Alrighty. Well, that is our review for Castaway. If you guys like what you've seen here and you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. If you're listening audio format, Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Stitcher. Social media pages, Twitter, Seen It Podcast. Cash is on Twitter. That's just Cash. Instagram, Have You Seen It? Facebook, Have You Seen It Podcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Krause, and until next time.
Bye.